When you look at a map of North America, Edmonton almost feels misplaced. Sitting farther north than nearly every major city on the continent, it's a metropolis of more than 1 million people, built deep within Canada's interior, shaped by resources and ambition. In this episode, I make a brief stop in Alberta's provincial capital, taking in a few key sides of the city, from downtown and the River Valley to a handful of other notable spots. But the real journey begins the next day as I head south through central Alberta, crossing open prairie, badlands, and some of the most dramatic landscapes in the province. Along the way, I stop in Drumheller, the dinosaur capital of the world, before continuing on towards Calgary, where the plains begin to rise and the foothills hint of what's still to come. Good morning here from downtown Edmonton. We're here at Sir Winston Churchill Square, and beautiful morning. I have not been in the city of Edmonton for almost 30 years. I came here as a young kid, so a lot of this is new for me, and off the bat, I am very impressed with the city thus far. This downtown area is very nice. And across from me, we have the City Hall of Edmonton. What a unique looking building this is. The City Hall here was completed in 1992, and it's one of the more interesting city halls I've ever seen in my life. So I'm going to explore this downtown area for a while, just check out a few of the sites around here, and then I'm going to head by to the river nearby, which has an amazing park system and bike trails. So Alberta is Canada's wealthiest province by per capita GDP, and I could already sense that here just driving through the province and in the first city in my visit here too. There's a grand scale to this place. Like a lot of other cities, you do have issues with homelessness in the downtown, but overall the downtown is very nice. It has some very tall buildings. The most impressive downtown landscape since Toronto on my trip thus far. So I wonder how Calgary is going to compare to this city, but already Edmonton is impressive. So Edmonton became a city in 1904, and a year later in 1905 it became Alberta's provincial capital. Now Edmonton stands with a population of just over 1 million people. Alberta's second biggest city. And this part is called the Ice District, so we are close to the arena here. I believe it's called the Rogers Centre. And there's a nice little statue I want to check out there of a local legend of hockey. I'm sure you know who I might be referring to. Yeah, a very pleasant downtown to walk around thus far. There's a few pockets here where you do see some homelessness people. But it's not overwhelming, but it's definitely there. But overall, it's a very nice and clean downtown. And it is a Sunday afternoon, so it might be one of the reasons why it's quieter right now. I'm sure during the week it's a lot busier. Here's the local hockey arena right here. It's Rogers Place, not Rogers Centre. And it's home to the local NHL hockey team called the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers is a representation of the oil and gas industry, which is a huge part of this province's economy. And tomorrow I'm going to check out a special site related to that. Here we go. I think I found what I'm looking for. So here we see some of the legends of Edmonton Oiler hockey. We see Mark Messier here. The legend, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So the Oilers hockey team has been to the Stanley Cup Finals the past 2 years. from what I understand. I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but they've lost both of those finals. But they're a team of champions. Hence the statue we have right here. Statue here of Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky was born in Bradford, Ontario. However, he made his name while playing with the Edmonton Oilers from 1979 to 1988. And in that time, the Oilers won 4 Stanley Cup championships in 84, 85, 87, and 88. Probably an epic time to be in the city here. And also next here to the arena is a really interesting place. We have some older kind of warehouse looking buildings with these neon signs, which definitely would look better in the nighttime hours. The first neon sign in Edmonton sprouted here around the 1920s and 30s in Edmonton. But by the 1960s, they started to go out of fashion. However, in the early 2000s, there was a heritage planner by the name of David Holdsworth, and he rescued one of these old vintage neon signs and put it up here in the downtown area. And afterwards, what happened is other signs were put up in this street area here. And so this idea of an outdoor museum made of neon lights first took shape around 2008. Apparently this is Justin Trudeau's new girlfriend. Wow. Quite beautiful. Looks like some kind of Aztec princess. Not sure what that has to do with Edmonton, but I love me a good, beautiful mural, so respect to the painter here. It is a Sunday, like I mentioned before, so then I might explain the quiet nature of the downtown, but yeah, prairie downtowns are pretty quiet spaces thus far. Toronto and Montreal, it was quite bustling in the CBD areas with constant action of people walking around, and I think a lot of people also live down in those areas too. There's a real community. But so far in the prairies of like Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, now here in Edmonton, the downtowns are very quiet on the weekends, which is unfortunate because this is a very nice walkable downtown area. So if more people were living here and active, it would really add to the energy of this place. What kind of COVID mural is this? The Angel of Death hovering over a dude wearing a mask. Some pretty rough looking characters behind me there. Open drug use on the street. Fucking sucks. There's a police truck. Nice. Just getting out of the downtown area. Edmonton just got serious bonus points for me because a parking attendant just gave me a ticket as I got to my car, and I was able to talk my way out of it. Just saying, I didn't know there was charged parking on the weekends, and that I'm from out of town, and she was very understanding and ripped up my ticket. So props to Edmonton. I saved $50, which is always nice, and thanks for the understanding there. Hope she doesn't get in trouble, but she was a very lovely lady. All right, good day in Edmonton so far. Escaped the ticket. Beyond the downtown, Edmonton opens up in a few unexpected ways. Just south of the core, the North Saskatchewan River Valley cuts through the city, one of the largest stretches of urban parkland in North America, with miles of bike trails, striking bridges, and views that constantly pull the skyline back into frame. Down here you'll also find the Alberta Legislature, completed in 1913, rising above the river on expansive grounds as one of the city's most impressive landmarks. Edmonton is also home to West Edmonton Mall, one of the largest shopping malls in the world, and still one of the most visited attractions in Canada today. And south of downtown, the neighborhood of Old Strathcona offers something different, a more bohemian side of the city, filled with independent cafes, restaurants, street art, and a strong local energy. But with another long drive ahead, it's time to leave the city behind and head south into the heart of Alberta. Alright, so we're just a bit south, or a bit southwest of the city of Edmonton. We're at a very special place here in Alberta's history. This is the National Energy Museum here. And over here is one of the most important sites here. This is where history was made. So in this spot in 1947, Leduc No. 1 struck oil and launched Alberta's transformation into an energy powerhouse. It birthed an industry which really transformed this part of Canada. The Canadian Energy Museum here behind me is unfortunately closed today. It is a Monday, but it's a national holiday, so I can't get in and see some more things, but I'm able to walk around here and check out this site, which is pretty interesting. So the big structure I'm walking on is called a derrick. The derrick itself doesn't drill for oil, but it holds the framing that holds support for the drilling equipment, which goes underground to locate the resource. Oil in many ways built modern Alberta. The oil boom that began in 1947 here at Leduc transformed the province from a farm and ranch economy into Canada's energy engine. The industry also drove explosive growth to the cities of Alberta. There was a population boom that came with this energy explosion as well. So I'm headed down to Calgary right now. Before that, I'm going to stop by the Royal Tyrrell Museum and check out some dinosaur remains. So that should be a couple hours driving south of here, maybe 2 or 3. And it's a place I went to as a young kid during my summer trips across Canada that I'd often take with my family, and excited to check out that place. So let's drive south, check out some dinosaurs before we check out Calgary and continue on the drive ahead.
Gambling house in Jacksonville, Florida. Actually, that's my first office.
What kind of gambling?
Drive through that little whatever that was really awesome. So we're right next to the town of Drumheller. There's a dinosaur museum which is located nearby, and this landscape is phenomenal. Wow. Wow. The drive coming here was spectacular, beautiful landscape here. It's just like nothing else I've seen in Canada thus far. So I'm at the Royal Tyrrell Museum. It was first opened in 1985, and when it was opened it was just called the Tyrrell Museum of Paleontology. But then in 1990 the Queen gave her blessings or something like that, so it became the Royal Tyrrell Museum. So I'm gonna head towards the museum right now. I'm in the parking lot. Good timing because it looks like a storm is headed our way. That storm coming in right now. Incredible. There's a couple of options here for getting in. There's a lot of people today, so if you're here on a really busy day, you should plan ahead. You could book tickets online. You could also do a walk-up to just buy a ticket on site. I decided to buy an online ticket and have to wait just about an hour to get in. In the meantime, it hasn't rained yet. I'm just gonna explore this area before I get in and walk up to this viewpoint. Wow, what a day. What a magnificent view up here. So we see the museum. I'm talking this way. Wow, it's intense. You really feel nature right now with this wind. I spent just about 2 hours in that museum, and that was enough time to see everything there, and 10 out of 10 experience. Tremendous. Yeah. Made it. There's my hostel there, the High Calgary Hosteling International. And what a drive. And the city looks spectacular. So I'm going to check in the hotel, have a chill evening. But tomorrow we're going to take on Calgary and see what the city's about. And all right, I'll see you tomorrow.